What's up everybody, my name is Chris and today we're going to be talking about fatigue, conditions, and status effects in the Avatar Legends role-playing game. Now let's get this out of the way first. Fatigue, conditions, or what have you are not health. There is no health in Avatar Legends. There's no pool of numbers just trickling down until you hit 0 and you get knocked out or dead. In this game there's fatigue, which is more indicative of stamina, and then conditions, which is more emotional exhaustion. Combining those things together kind of gives you a health-like system, but it's closer to a resource management than anything else. That being said, if you like Avatar Legends and you want to see more of these videos, click that subscribe button and that little bell icon to get notified for video uploads. But with that in mind, first off, we're starting with fatigue. Fatigue is by far the one you're going to use the most. Again, it is closer to a stamina bar than it is actual health. Players get 5 fatigue boxes they get to use and spend on what they want to do. Most moves are going to cost fatigue. Whether it be a basic move, a balance move, or a combat move, almost all of them have some form of fatigue cost. Now, not everything that you do is going to cost fatigue. Fatigue is mostly reserved for things that are going to be physically exhaustive in some way, like fighting firebenders or moving ships into the water. No, not everything you do is going to cost fatigue. Only really the moves that are listed are going to cost it, and everything else is just kind of at DM's discretion. If you want to try to move mountains, that's going to cost some fatigue. But if you're just trying to, climb up a hill and you're using your earthbender to help you out, that's probably not going to be a fatigue thing. It's going to be very dependent on what the DM decides, but also on how you want to do things. If you want to do something that's going to be extra strenuous, it's probably going to cost fatigue. But if you don't and you try to go the easier way, it might not cost fatigue as much. But fret not, fatigue is not a permanent thing. You can gain it back by doing a multitude of things, from sleeping, resting, eating, hanging out with friends. There's a lot of ways that you can just clear fatigue. Now, the main ones that are built in to clear most of your fatigue is just sleeping. If you sleep outside in nature, you're only going to get 3 fatigue back over the night. If you sleep something in like a barn, you're going to get 4 back. Or if you sleep in a bed or in like a cot sort of thing, you're going to get all 5 fatigue back. You can also use the move Comfort Somebody to remove fatigue, or if you're in combat, if you use Evade and Maneuver, you're also going to get a fatigue back. There's a number of ways that you can kind of lower your fatigue count so you can keep doing really cool things. But if you're not able to, if your fatigue is maxed out and you still need to do something like strike a foe, there's going to be a slight change to it. If you have full fatigue and you use a move that costs more fatigue, you gain a condition at that point. Or if you use a move that asks you to select fatigue, condition, or move balance, you have to choose either select condition or move balance. You cannot select the fatigue option because your resources are dried up. You've used all 5 already. So if you run out of fatigue, you're not out of the running yet, but you are getting close. Your character is getting emotionally exhausted at this point, not just physically exhausted, and you're getting to the point where you're gonna fall out. Which leads into part 2, which is conditions. Conditions are special. Conditions, after you fill all 5 of them up, are going to knock you the fuck out. Now, there are 5 conditions indicating different emotional states that your character is gonna go through as you continue combat. Now, I'm gonna just read them off a list because I'm lazy and I can't remember everything. Now, the conditions are afraid. You take a -2 to intimidate and call somebody out. Angry, you take a -2 to comfort or support and assess a situation. Foolish, you take a -2 to trick and resisting shifting your balance. Guilty, -2 to pushing your luck and denying a call out. And insecure, a -2 to plead and rely on your skills and training. So you can already see how that's going to affect your rolls as you go forward. Every time you get a condition, you get a -2 to some form of roll that you might have to use moving forward. And there's only one way to clear each condition, which I'm about to read off for you right now again, because lists and remembering, not my friend. Now, clear conditions, first off, is afraid. You run away from danger or difficulty. You run away from your problems. Then there's angry. Break something important or put others in danger. You do something that's gonna put everybody else in danger or put the group at large at risk. Foolish. Take foolhardy action without talking to your companions. Do something foolish without talking to anybody about it. Next is guilty. Make a personal sacrifice to absolve your guilt. Basically punishing yourself to make yourself feel better, maybe even at the expense of everybody else in the group. And then lastly is insecure. Offer aid or support to somebody competent. That's mansplain. You wouldn't tell Aang how to airbend, but in this case you would be, and that's to make yourself feel better. That's how you clear these conditions. These conditions are emotional states that your characters are going through. As you get more tired, as you get more fatigued, these are emotional character beats that you're gonna go through that you can have your characters experience to kind of grow as people. And then clearing the conditions fall right into that as well. Just the same as you got a condition for a story moment, you have to use a story moment to get rid of the condition. Now, after you hit all 5 conditions, you're just knocked out. You are knocked out for the next couple hours or however long it takes you. That is between you and the DM to decide on what happens, how it works, or what goes on. And those 2 are your main hitters. Fatigue is the resource you're gonna be using for the most part. Conditions are something that's really kind of like your health, but it's also kind of like status ailments that are gonna affect you moving forward. It's a combination. It's not a really easy thing to describe because it's just kind of a combination of multiple types of mechanics that are made into their new ones. They're new mechanics that haven't been used in a game like this before. I mean, they probably have, but you know, I digress. And then lastly is status effects. Now, status effects are different because they are things that can be given and taken at an instant. Status effects are only given and taken by moves used by players or NPCs. Status effects are things that affect characters in ways that just kind of modify the battle as they go. There's a list of them, and I'm just gonna read them off again, because God, I just need to get a teleprompter so I just can look at a list and read it while I'm just like looking at the screen. Now, statuses can be put into two different categories for whoever gets statused, either beneficial or harmful. Let's start with the harmful one so we can end on a high note. First up is doomed. You're in grave danger. Mark 1 fatigue every few seconds or each exchange until you free yourself. Basically, you're trapped under ice and you're dying. That's a bad one. That's a really bad one. Great for you if you use it on an enemy, but bad for you if it's used on you. Impaired, you're slowed or off balance. Mark 1 fatigue or take -2 to all physical actions. Trapped, you are completely helpless. You must mark a combination of 3 fatigue or conditions to escape. So you have to mark a combination of 3 fatigue or conditions to even get out of that condition. Status effect. Potato, potato. Then stunned, you are caught off guard. You can't act or respond for a few seconds until you steady yourself. Basically, you miss a turn. Fun. But all is not lost. Those are the bad ones. Here are the good ones up next. Empowered, your abilities are naturally stronger in this moment. Clear 1 fatigue at the end of each exchange. Now that would basically be like a waterbender fighting during the full moon, or a firebender fighting, you know, at noon. Favored, you're buoyed by circumstance. Choose an additional basic or master technique in the next exchange, even on a miss. Basically, you just get an extra technique to use. It's a badass thing. Inspired, you're ready to stand for something. Clear Inspired to shift your balance towards a principle of your choice. You get a free balance shift. And then Prepared, you're ready for what's coming. Clear Prepared to take a +2 on an appropriate roll or avoid marking a condition. You can just say no to a condition. Or you get a +2 to the next roll that you want to use it for. Both are fantastic. Status effects are awesome things that you can use to modify the battle in your favor, or your NPCs can use them against you and make themselves better. It's a give and pull thing, because if you can do something, the NPCs can do it just as well as you can. Now, with that in mind, the ways that you can get a status effect or remove a status effect are by using moves. There are 3 moves that actively do that. First, with Defend and Maneuver is Ready. Mark 1 fatigue to ready yourself or your environment, assigning a functionally appropriate status to nearby foes. Example, Impaired or yourself, Prepare. Or with Advance and Attack, you have Smash. Mark 1 fatigue to destroy or destabilize something in the environment, possibly inflicting or overcoming a functionally appropriate positive or negative status. And then finally, with Evade and Observe, you have Bolster or Hinder. Aid or impede a nearby character, inflicting an appropriate status, like Trapped or Fatigued or something of that matter. Those are the main moves that you can use that's gonna give some form of status effect to you or a party or anybody else. And that really sums up the entirety of fatigue, conditions, and status effects. They're a pretty simple concept to get your head around. It's just a matter of getting out of the whole HP subspace that, you know, D&D and Pathfinder and all these other big TTRPGs have got us locked into. But with that in mind, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click that little subscribe button, click that little bell icon down below to get notified for video uploads. If you want to check out more Avatar Legends videos, consider clicking up here to this little card that's going to show up. It's going to have a full playlist of Avatar Legends videos that might help you with something you're kind of lacking in the game, whether it be trying to figure out balance, fatigue, or anything like that. Thank you all to my patrons. You guys are fantastic and the reason I'm able to do these things. And a very special thank you to my top tier patrons. Thank you so much, Amaldine Shepherd, Corey H, Rutana, Dark Cerberus, Connor Kendall, Ethan Huntley, and Evan A. These are my top tier patrons. I want to say thank you all so much for helping support this channel. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.